speaker view. Just a moment. Avantika, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you put the speaker view on? Is it on?
Yes.
Fine. It's fine. And I hope you're recording the session.
View. Yeah.
Is the voice clear? Can you hear me clearly, everyone? Yes. Okay. Fine. Right. So, Nada Vibronics. What is Nada? Some of you have watched lots of my videos, so you might know already. But what is Nada? Tell me. What is your understanding of Nada? Sharman?
Universe.
It's all pervading, but without energy of movement or kinesis. Yeah? So that is the bed of energy, unmoving energy, almost like a still lake. Yes? So nothing much can happen with that unmoving energy, though it's immense, right? So how do we use this immense potential energy which has not come into action? By providing some impetus onto it, some fire into it, some intensity into it, some force into it, right? So when we think of something that is force, it would have a strong sound. Like na is a non-strong sound. It's something which seems to be like there, but it's not forceful, right? Whereas if you knock something, if you push something, it's like da. Da is a pushing sound. So when you think of a pushing force or a pushing sound, a percussion kind of sound, it's da. Da is like a percussion. You're hitting something, right? Like when you hit a tabla, for instance, or some instrument, it would be like da, right? So the is that agni, that fire, that force, that urge, that inspiration. Hmm? Inspiration is agni, inspiration is fire, aspiration is fire, urge is fire, certain vision is fire, certain excitement is fire. How else should we put it? A certain passion is fire, which makes you move away from your inertia, where you are forced to use your potential, right? So when that fire, that urge, that ichha shakti, that will force, the horse of your consciousness that moves your potential, when that force is put upon this bed of potential energy, pranavayu, it's like a pebble being thrown into a still lake. So when you drop or throw a pebble into a still lake, then what happens? You force movement. You see ripples, you see waves. That force could be like throwing a stone. That force could be like pushing the water with your fingers. You'll find waves happening. So any introduction of force onto this potential bed of na, which is pranavayu, any force applied will create movement. So potentiality plus force applied becomes movement. So all movement makes the universe. All movement is vibration. And there is nothing that exists here in this universe which is manifest, which is both animate and inanimate. Anything that is animate, anything that is inanimate is made up of molecules, atoms, right? Anything that you see. Also things that you don't see. Even gas, which you probably can't see most of the time. Water vapor that you can't see. All of it is made up of molecules. And every single molecule, every single atom is made up of elements or things that are in constant motion. You have a neutron, you have a proton, you have electron, moving at unimaginable speeds within every atom. So even a thing like a table that seems still, your floor that seems still, is actually whirling at unimaginable speeds. But to our perception, it is still. So everything that you witness in this universe is in vibration, is in movement. Yeah? So we come again to the question, so what is nada? Nada is every single movement, every single thing that exists in this universe. Not just sound, it is also our cells, it is also our body, it is everything, right? Let me explain it in one more way. Let's consider sound waves. So, how do we hear sound? Who knows? Might have studied it in school. How do we hear sound? Tell me.
Can I try? So the sounds is from something like movement, create of vibration, and then go into our ears, into our eardrums, create the wave. But beyond the eardrum it's just space with no air. So the vibration becomes signals picked up by our nerve and sent to our brain.
Yes. So that's correct. Sound needs air or water or some kind of molecules to travel, right? So up to the eardrum, we have air. So sound travels, audible sound travels through the medium of air and reaches the eardrum. The drum vibrates, and now there is no oxygen beyond the air, beyond the eardrum. No oxygen which sound needs to travel. So it converts the sound waves through the vibration of the eardrum into electrical impulses. So electrical impulses then carrying the same information of the sound waves go through an auditory nerve. You have an auditory nerve that connects from your eardrums to the brain. So the auditory nerve takes the signals, the electrical signals, and that gets processed in your brain, and you think you are hearing the sound. You are actually processing the sound signals in the electrical form. From the audio form to the electrical form, there's a change, just like you speak over a mic, but what reaches somewhere else is an electrical output, which again gets converted into audio. So your brain processes electrical signals and actually hears the sound spoken in the form of electrical signals. What happens besides just the act of hearing? Huh? So what happens? You actually remember what you heard. So when this electrical input goes into your brain, you actually store what you have heard in your memory in the brain. short-term or long-term memory, right? Even if you don't really remember something, it is always stored. You can bring it back under hypnosis. Anything that you might have heard even when you were 4 years old, it can be brought back under hypnosis at any point of your life. So that means whatever you hear in your life, whatever you see, whatever you smell, all these different gateways that you have, sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch. These are the 5 indriyas that we have, the 5 gateways of absorption. So all these 5 gateways of absorption take in inputs from the surrounding atmosphere, either in the form of sound waves or light waves or aroma or touch waves, touch waves, and so on. But the moment they come in contact with your physical body, once you receive it, they finally get converted into electrical impulses and reach the brain. So these are called the Panchendriyas. These are the 5 gateways that are called the Panchendriyas, which are taking in vibration from various sources or various modes, and they all get converted into electrical impulses and reach our brain. And whatever we take in, either as sound or as light or vision or as smell or as taste or as touch, all of them get stored in our brain into our memory bank as memory that is never lost. So what is happening? All the nada, all these forms that I'm talking about are vibrations, and hence they are all nada. All of them, when they're going into your brain and getting stored as long-term memory, what is this memory? What is memory? How would you describe memory? Or how does a scientist describe memory? How is anything stored in your being as memory? Anyone? In classical science, they say memory is stored in the form of dash in your brain. What is memory stored as?
Maybe as
Have we lost your face, Shashi?
yeah.
Yes? Yes. Yes.
So sorry, it's like 5 a.m. Now it's 5:45 a.m. for
Doesn't
me.
matter. As long as you're smiling, you always look good.
Okay.
Important thing is the smile, not the background. Yeah.
Sure. So I think brain, I don't know, it's just I'm guessing probably it stores as charges, signals.
Fine.
I think the positive,
according
negative.
to quantum physics, everything is signals and charge. There is nothing physical. But according to the older thought of science, which treats the body as physical, it says memory is stored in your brain as chemicals. Okay? So if we consider that chemicals are solid, otherwise nothing is solid. But if we consider that chemicals are made up of atoms and molecules, then all that you hear, all that you see, all that you touch, all that you smell, all that you taste goes in through electrical signals, gets stored into your memory bank in the form of chemicals. So chemicals are physical. They are part of your physical body, right?
Yeah.
So nada not only influences you, it also becomes a part of your physical body. So you're not just influenced by nada, you yourself are nada. So next time somebody asks you what is nada, say I am nada. Yes, because you are. So, if we ourselves are nada, then we can use our own vibrational being to heal ourselves. If we have the knowledge of our own being and our own vibrational process, then we can use the tools that we have within us to harmonize ourselves, to alter ourselves, to heal ourselves, and to empower ourselves. Yes. So, what we are going to learn is to use these tools of nada that we have within us so that you are never dependent on an outside source to heal you. And that is the power of nada. And I am happy to teach this because it has benefited me so much in the last, how many years? Almost 40 years, that I have not had medicines for the last 35 years. So if you have these tools within you, then wherever in the world you might be, you do not need any external support to keep well. You don't need medicines, you don't need pills, nothing. You need no external support, right? And that is the most powerful way of being. So, what are the tools of nada? What do you think? What are the tools of nada that we have? Nada, as in what can we receive or emit from within ourselves? What are the forms of nada that you think we have within us?
Our voice, our
Yes, sound. Yes, you can hear and you can emit sound. Yes. Okay. What else? Thoughts. Yes. Thoughts are vibration. Thoughts are movement. Anything that you think is a vibration, right? So that is also nada. That's a tool, very powerful tool. Breath. Yes. Breath. And how? Do you know? You can make out the state of being of a person by the way he's breathing. If a person is tense, you will see the breath is irregular or very short, very frequent. If a person is really, really, really peaceful, you will hardly be able to notice that he's even breathing. Because the breathing will happen very, very slowly, very relaxed. What else? Other tools that we have?
Then all the probably the tools like physical tools.
Like?
I mean, the singing ball or flute.
No, I'm saying forget about external props.
Like a hand,
Within yourselves. Yes.
hands and
So
feet.
you have the power of touch.
Mudra.
Touch.
Yeah.
I already told you. So, what are the vibrational tools you have? You have the tool of touch, right? Touching your own fingers, touching parts of your body. Your physical being itself is a tool of nada. Okay. What else? Sight. What you take in through your eyes, or what you emit through your eyes. Even you looking at someone can influence somebody. You are moving matter by your vision. If you look at something intensely, you will influence it. Even inert matter. You heard of Uri Geller? He was there in the early 20th century, and he had so much power in his gaze that he could bend metal. Spoons and forks used to bend when he used to look at them. That was the power of his gaze, Agnya Chakra. Agnya Chakra controls your eyes. This whole band is Agnya Chakra. So, Uri Geller had that power in his gaze. So that's another tool of nada. What you take in through your eyes and what you emit through your eyes. So all the panchendriyas, the power of sound, the power of touch, the power of smell, the power of taste, and the power of sight. Okay, so all these are your tools of nada, along with your the ordering of your breath and the intention uh, that you have from within you, the inner intention, the ability to harness your thought and focus it through an intention. So these are all tools of nada that we have within us. Then we may take external help from instruments, etc., etc. That's fine, but that's just an extension of what you already have within yourself. Right? So once you know that you have all these tools, you become the creator because you then can experiment with yourself and your inner tools. Of course, you can learn from things that have already been tested and tried in the past, from great sciences in our own indigenous knowledge systems, which have been given to us out of great observation and experimentation and validation. So, a lot of things that have come down to us through the ages have been tried and tested so powerfully that we can very easily absorb it in our lives. But it doesn't mean that we don't have the freedom to experiment and find something new ourselves. There is always that possibility of finding something wonderful on your own. So we must always be open to that as well. Okay. So today, I'm going to first introduce you to some experiences which will give you a sense of how sound can change your being. Okay? As you hear me, so today what we're going to do is introduce some sonic influences. Since we know that sound is the most obvious form of nada, we are going to experiment with sound. And I'm going to introduce some things that have been in practice in the Indian traditions, which is music in an ordered form, mantra in an ordered form, and why these orders, this kind of ordering of sound, this kind of ordering of sound into raga, ordering of sound into mantra, what are the different impacts that these have, and why have they been designed the way that they have been designed to influence our consciousness. Okay? So I'm going to demonstrate something to you, and let us see how you react to these little experiments that we will do today. So first of all, I'm going to sing a little bit for you. Very, very short pieces of Indian raga. 3 ragas. And in these ragas, I'm not going to use words. I'm going to just use musical notes so that you're not disturbed by the literary meaning. You only concentrate on the impact of the sound. Okay? So I'm going to sing each of these pieces for less than a minute. And I want you to observe whether you feel a certain sensation of rising energy, settling down energy, awakening energy, or an energy that takes you into absorption within yourself, energy that a sound that gives you more energy for activity, or a sound that wants you to go back into a restful mode. So you might feel different energies. Some of you might feel not sensorial, but you might see actual scenes in your mind if you're more visual as a person. So some of us see more visuals as you hear a sound rather than actually feeling sensory energies. So according to the way you're made, you will actually have a different uh, reaction to the raga. Okay? So let's see. So I will begin with one now. Also notice some of you might feel a sense of morning. Some of you might feel a sense of maybe dusk or late night, because every raga is supposed to have a time of day. Time of day is also connected to the atmospheric impact. So some of you will actually feel different times of day when you hear a raga. Okay? Let's see. Let's try. All right. Short, please. What did you feel? Yes?
I felt a rising energy within me, and I felt it was like the start of a day, start of the day. The energy was like lifting up.
Okay.
Beautiful. It was just so beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. What else?
I feel it is very like spreading, like it's going, yeah.
Okay. Fine. Right. What else? Hello, Lawrence. Welcome. Lawrence, welcome to the course.
Hello.
Hello.
um,
Did you hear the raga, or you just came in?
yes, I did. Yeah, I did. For me, it gave me like a sense of peace, almost like a nice spring day. So it's beautiful.
Wonderful. Okay. Charmaine?
I got the opposite. I got like it's kind of night and mysterious and kind of wandering, like expansive. Like it's a very quiet, kind of peaceful.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
Yeah.
Shashi?
For me, it was a evening kind of a feeling that winding, slowing down, kind of a feeling that I got.
Okay. Jyotika?
I could see the sunrise, nice orange bright sun, expansive and beautiful fresh flowers.
Matt, you there? Yes.
The waking sound.
Waking sound. Okay. Fine. So it is indeed a raga of dawn. So it is peaceful. It does give us peace, but at the same time, that whole idea of spreading, it actually widens the energy, or some of you felt the rising energy, some of you felt awakening energy, etc. So yes, it is indeed a sound of giving more energy for manifestation. So it is a raga of dawn, and you will see the difference when I sing the next rag. For those who felt it was night or evening, you will actually see the difference when I sing the next raga. So here it is. So, you feel a difference?
Yeah, definitely. This was settling. It was like dusk time, evening, romance. It was just so beautiful. I'm so grateful to be part of this space. Thank you so much. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. What else? Anyone?
I kind of got the like the evening romance thing. I saw like a couple slow dancing.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Yes. Fine. What else?
I felt like like I walking alone on my way home after a long day in the dark.
Wonderful. Okay. What else? Anything else? Yeah, I can't hear you. Yes.
Yeah, the homecoming, the herd of sheep and the flock getting back to their home.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Shashi, Nat, want to say anything? All good? Shashi?
Yeah, I think it's more. I mean, now I feel more of a dusk feeling.
Right. So people can't go wrong with Rag Yaman. All of you are in agreement. Huh? So this was Rag Yaman, very famous rag, very, very famous. Used a lot in film music, used a lot in devotional music, in religious music also, because it's a very soothing rag. It's a rag of dusk, of evening. Dusk can change from continent to continent. So you might have dusk later in Delhi and earlier in Calcutta even. So it's really an evening rag. And dusk also, I have heard people across the globe, because I've done my workshops in various countries. And this vision of the cows coming home, the flock coming home, I hear this quite often after I sing this rag. And also this idea of feeling rested and, with your loved ones, and, just coming back home after a long day. So, all the reactions that you had, I have heard these reactions so many times after this rag Yaman. It's really a rag that calms you and soothes you and brings you back to rest. So it is an evening rag, yes. Interesting how all of you in different ways have expressed a similar feeling. Yes. Okay. One more rag. Yes. What do you think?
For me, it was nighttime and sadness and melancholic.
Okay. You felt alone.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, sad. It was like I could just imagine like a poor family living striving for their means at night, struggling.
Okay. Okay.
With that sadness.
Night. Yes. Fine. What else?
Felt very still and very calm. Didn't feel like opening my eyes again. And also did bring in a little bit of tears in my eye.
Okay.
And it's always a treat to hear you, ma'am. Seriously.
For me, it was more of a deep thinking state.
Yes. And what else? What did you find yourself alone? Did you see it dark, light? What did you think?
Yeah, on the more on the darker side.
Okay. What else, Mona?
Like a bit lonely, and
Okay.
lonely is like I've been left alone and I'm singing to myself.
Okay. Okay. And what else, Lawrence?
Yeah, I just kept hearing the word like sorrow, and sadness.
Yes, sorrow. Okay. Okay, Charmaine?
Same, like sadness. There's kind of like a sense of heavy, like being stuck there, like not moving a lot. And yeah. dark, very dark for me.
Yes, yes. Very late night rag. Very late night rag. It's a very late night rag, and it can evoke melancholy, or it can evoke a sense of depth, of being alone without feeling sad. It can become very meditative, or it can have a sense of sadness, both, depending on what is evoked from within you. So it can also be a very positively meditative state. Like she said, I felt not lonely but alone, that I'd been, left alone to enjoy my solitude. So sometimes you enjoy that solitude, and sometimes solitude makes you sad. But it is a rag that draws you into the depth of your being, and also late night in terms of your consciousness. So you see, while you're sitting with your lights on and you're in the same atmosphere, 3 rags can take you into different states completely within a minute each, right? So that is the power of the ordering of sound. Not just of sound, but how sound is ordered. So there is a law of sound. There is a law of ascent and descent. That is what we call a rag. A rag is a structuring of the notes of music, of the musical scale, in a way that there is a certain law that is followed. How do you ascend with certain notes, and how do you descend? Ascent is called aro, descent is called avaro. So there is a rule, there is a DNA, there is a law. So every rag is like a being, it's like a human being, which has a DNA, which is its internal law. So when you sing, you can have 1,000 permutations and combinations, even if you're singing 4 notes. But even if you're singing 4 notes, there's a way you go up and there's a way you come down and combine the notes. So given this DNA, given this law, you can experiment and express this law in a million different ways without breaking the law. And that is what creates the nature of the raga. It's not a composition, it's not a song, it's a DNA, it's a law of being which you follow with infinite freedom of experimentation, just like our human body. We have a certain DNA which gives us a certain form, but from that form we have infinite ability. So that's also the nature of the raga. And that is why when you follow the DNA of the raga, when you follow the law of ascent and descent, then even if I'm playing with the notes, even if I'm not singing a composition, I will create a certain atmosphere which will influence our consciousness. And that is why even a minute, less than a minute of each of the rags that I sang had the power to change your consciousness and make you feel awakening energy or morning, or make you feel dusk, or make you feel alone, or melancholy, or deep into the night, etc. So that is why the Indian raga, I mean, imagine the understanding of elemental state, of atmospheric state that the composers of these ragas had. They understood what draws you into a consciousness of night. They understood what combination of notes draws you into an awakening state, or into a restful state, or into a playful state. What combination of notes can actually invite the atmosphere to pour down rain or to light up fire. We might think that it's just imagination, but maybe it's not. We all have the power to speak with the sky, to communicate with the clouds, because we are all connected. We just don't believe in our powers. We all have the power. If you test it, you will find that it works. Sometimes you don't even know that we are able to test those powers. But they all exist within us. We just have to believe that they do exist. You must try. Try talking to the clouds. Communicate with them and they will communicate with you. Maybe that should be your homework. See what happens. It's a fascinating feeling to communicate with the sky. Okay? You know, I have my project in rural, almost rural heritage town in Rajasthan, where we still have open courtyards and fresh air. And when I have my breakfast, and we have a lot of birds who come into the courtyard. And some of them want to have a bit of my breakfast, so they try to come close. Earlier, they used to come about 6 feet away from me and wait till I was gone. Now they're bold enough to come 1 foot away from me and look at my plate and then look at me. And important thing is that they have begun to recognize my voice, and I also talk to them. So because they know I'm talking to them, they have become comfortable with me. So it doesn't matter if they don't understand your language. They understand the inner language. They understand tonality. They understand affection. They understand vibration. They understand nada. And that is what makes you communicate with any vibrational being, even a cloud in the sky. That's also a vibrational being. So the moment we widen our perspective of nada, things can happen. Okay. So that was raga, the impact of raga on our consciousness. And if we learn to use these ragas well, not only can we influence our own state of being, but we can also influence our atmosphere. If you play a well-composed raga in a certain atmosphere, even in a school setting, even with students, or even in any other space, you can create the impact you want with the use of the right sound, the right raga. So you can use sound, use raga to very positive effect. Okay? So that's raga. Now let us consider another form, ordered form that we have in our culture, which is mantra. Okay? So there are various kinds of mantras. What are the kinds of mantras? Do you know? I'm not talking about so many mantras that we have. There are different technologies of mantras. So what are the kinds of mantras that we can have? Anyone? So there's a typical Vedic mantra, which we have in the Vedas, which we have in the Upanishads. That's a typical Vedic form of chanting. Then there are bija mantras, seed sounds, okay, which are repetition of a single sound again and again and again, which doesn't have any literary meaning. Okay. And then there are mantras which are powered by intention, where you're actually not even using the vocal medium at all. Okay? So, let us first look at the power of the Vedic mantra. What is the Vedic mantra? And what is its power? So, I'm going to chant a mantra for you, and then we will talk about the mantra. Okay? Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. So, what do you think? What was the impact? Did you find it different from the music that you heard earlier?
I think it was more energetic.
In what way?
Um, I think it's like having coffee.
It's like having coffee. Okay. Did it, what nature of energy? Everything is energy. The sounds that you heard earlier
It's
also.
a positive.
Did you find more concentration of energy?
I mean, it's like moving towards like active, making me more energetic, positive, energetic. I think that's the kind of feeling I got.
Where was the energy? Was it in your eyes? Was it in your chest? Was it in your head?
Chest. I felt more on the chest.
Chest and neck? Or
Yeah.
this entire region together? What do you think?
Yeah.
Entire region? Okay. What else?
That was an awakening energy, very, very energetic. I mean, it woke, it just, everything started vibrating from as if it was in slumber, and suddenly it was like, poof, something had just struck it like lightning and just woken it all up.
Okay. And then by the end of it, where did you feel it was?
But then in the end, when he said Shanti, 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 then again it settled down.
Okay.
From that rising, it just calmly settled.
So you found that energy through the thing rising to the higher part of your body, is it? You find more
Yeah,
concentration?
definitely. Yes. It was just
The
like,
entire part, right?
yes.
See, certain kinds of music like percussion, when you have drums and you have dancing energy, etc., the energy tends to move towards your feet, your legs, your pelvis. You feel like moving the lower part of your body, right? In this case, as all of you might have experienced, the energy is in the higher part of your body, right? From the chest and encompassing the higher part. So you're not thinking of below your navel, you're thinking of above your navel. The energy concentrates more in the higher chakras. Yes, it energizes you, but it concentrates on the higher chakras, which increase your mental energy. Also gives you peace, but also gives you sharpness. It's not like Rag Yaman that puts you to rest. It gives you laser beam concentration, that kind of energy. Yes? So any other comments anyone wants to make?
I was going to say pretty much the same thing. Felt it in the upper regions and the higher chakras. And I noticed when you went to the it was more centering. And then when you were going through the flow of it, I felt it rising up. But when you went back to the I felt centered again.
Very interesting. Yes, indeed. Because Om actually does a reversal of energy and takes it up into the head. Yes. Good observation. Yes. Okay. Fine. So that is the power of the Vedic chant. And if you repeat it again and again and again, it can take you into a trance state because of a certain technology, right? What is the technology of the Vedic chant? So, if you notice what I chanted, if you notice carefully, how did it sound different from a musical composition or a raga? A raga has a flow, it meanders, it goes here and there, it explores within various notes, it goes higher and lower and so on. Chant has a distinctly different kind of impact, right? So what do you think is this different kind of impact and why? What is the nature of the usage of notes that is creating this different impact? What do you think? What did I sing? How was it different from an exploration of musical notes in an octave, which is the raga, or any piece of music? How is a chant different? What do you feel was different in a chant?
Can I try? I feel like when I hear you singing the rags, it's kind of generating. It's kind of like creating a feeling, like a picture, a sensation. But when I hear the mantra, I'm kind of like, it's not closing, but it's more coming back rather than generate something. So that's how I feel.
Right. So you find that the mantra is more centering, whereas the raga is more exploratory. It kind of moves you to different moods and emotions, etc. Yes, very good. Yes. But what is the technology that makes that happen? After all, we are just using musical notes. So there is a certain technology which creates a different impact on us, on our flow of energy, on our mind, on our body. What is that technology of musical notes? How are we using them in a mantra? What is a mantra in terms of its composition? How is it different?
Mantra has fewer notes.
It has fewer notes. That's correct. How many?
3, 2, 3.
4.
4.
3 or 4.
Okay, I'm going to repeat it. Okay? Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. So now I gave you a hint by moving my hands. Now how many notes do you think it is?
Is it 3?
3. Yes. Bass note, one lower note, one higher note. 3 notes. Om is at the base. There's a lower note and there's a higher note. So it's the technology of the mantra, the Vedic mantra or the Upanishadic mantra is that it's normally chanted in 3 notes only, with different permutations and combinations, but not escaping this very, very narrow band of frequency. Because there's one higher note just above and one lower note just below the bass note, sa or do, as we call it in Western notation. So when you are meandering very, very close from the bass note, a little higher, a little lower, and going back and forth, you are just within this very narrow band of frequency, but undulating a bit. So when you continue to do that again and again and again, even if you hear or you emit, what is happening is you are forced into a constricted zone of musical notes. You're not exploring the 7 notes. You are constricted within 3 notes. So when you have created a ceiling for your exploration, then your brain also creates a ceiling. So when you repeat this again and again, then there is something called a frequency beat or a frequency pulse that happens in your brain that pushes your brainwave motion, which is normally in beta state, it pushes it into an alpha brainwave movement. Alpha state. Alpha state is where the brain waves become slower. The wave movement becomes slower. Beta is the fastest. Alpha is slower. And then as you go on repeating the mantra again and again to many, many, many times, then your brain goes into an even slower state, which is called theta. So in a theta wave state, your brain, your entire being, your nerve endings become absolutely nullified, because the nerve fluid that goes to your nerve endings to make you sensory withdraw in a state of theta. So in a state of theta, your nerve fluids withdraw and your panchendriyas, your sensory gateways, become completely quietened. So in that completely quietened state, all the energy, all your essential energy is withdrawn to concentrate in the inner mode. So when everything is withdrawn, when there is a term in Sanskrit called pratyahara. Pratyahara means withdrawal of the senses. So when you go into a japa mode, which means repetition of a chant, when you repeat a chant again and again and again, you are doing japa, which is repetition of a chant. So that repetition itself is a technology. That repetition is a technology of withdrawal. So when you repeat again and again, your brain goes into a theta or a trance state. In that trance state, you are not sleeping. You're not asleep. You might be in a trance state and you still might be chanting. Your vocal cords might be going on. But your brain is in theta state. So in that theta state, all internal harmonization takes place. Because all your fluids recede into working on the inner sensory level rather than the outer sensory level. So all the ordering of the chakras, the harmonizing of the chakras, the harmonizing of the flows of your nadis, all that happens without any intellectual intervention in the theta state. So if you truly want to heal yourself, you should get yourself into a theta state at least once a day. Because then you are allowing the body to work out its own harmony. You should allow your being to work out its own harmony. And that happens very, very easily in a theta state. So that's the technology of the mantra and the technology of the japa. Constriction of frequencies which allow the brain waves to change and recede into a deeper wave motion, a deeper state. And then that state is achieved by repetition, not just by chanting something once or twice, but by the technology of japa. So when you do japa, that's why you had the mala earlier with 108 beads. So why did they have the rosary with 108 beads? Because once you are getting into alpha and theta, you forget to count intellectually. Your hands also are not intellectually feeling. They are going on in an automated mode. But when you come to the end of the rosary, there is an obstruction. And that obstruction will tell your mind that you have completed so many, because you know that this is 108. You have programmed it like that, right? So your mind is programmed that the rosary is 108. So even though you're not counting, when you come to the obstruction, at the end of it, you will know that you have done 108 even without counting. And because you do not have to keep stock of it, because you don't have to count, your brain is free to go into an alpha and then a theta state. So that is why we use a rosary when we are chanting. So all these things were woven into our practices to help us free the intellectual mind or the thinking, the outer thinking mind, and allow it to quieten down, to still itself. Yes, very, very powerful way of stilling the mind, of getting into an alpha state or a theta state. You don't require tranquilizers. Next time you want to still the mind, you can just chant, go into japa. Okay. So that's the technology of the japa, right? And then you already heard me chanting the Om. Om is the easiest way to reverse your energy. Your energy normally flows outward and downward. That's the nature of energy. The energy tends to flow downward. There is a tendency in us to waste our energy and let it flow downward and outward. We are not able to retain very precious energy that we have within ourselves. We expend it very easily. But we have certain tools which can help us to retain that energy and move it to increase the ability of our consciousness, the ability of our mind, the ability of our brain. And that is when we can move the pranic energy upward rather than downward. So the chanting of Om helps us by its very nature to move the energy into our head. So the way you pronounce the Om, it automatically forces the energy and the vibration to your head. And when you chant it again and again and long periods of each chant, then the intensity keeps growing in your head, and you're not only do you get into a theta state, but it also helps you to energize and to vibrate your brain so much that the neural gateways of your brain become absolutely cleansed. The power of your electrical neural networks increases. The power of your mind increases. The power of your ability to influence yourself and your surroundings increase. And your will force becomes magnified to a great extent. Not only that, if you keep practicing this, slowly you will find other levels of cognition opening up to you. Analogical thinking, telepathy, intuition. So many levels of mind will begin to open up. So it's a worthwhile experiment to engage with every day. What you have
So
to
is
be
it
careful of is that you don't get so involved with it that you want to recede into it all the time and not take care of your worldly duties. So people have a choice. Either they stop coveting all the worldly needs that they have and become completely simplified. Otherwise, you have to make sure that you balance your life in the internal state and the external state where you actually work with your hands every day so that you create that balance between the outer and the inner. Because if you don't work with your hands and you are always into the inner mind mode or thought mode, then one will start making excuses for not doing physical work. So one has to, if you want to live in the physical world and you want to enjoy the fruits of the physical world, then you have to engage with the physical world with a lot of enthusiasm as well. Otherwise, it's not fair. You can't have your cake and eat it too. So that's a very important thing we have to think about. We have to feel good with working with mud. We have to feel good with engaging with hard work, with things that require physical labor, with things that require planning. So if we want to live in the physical world, we must do karma, inner and outer, simultaneously. Yes? So think about that. Today, I will chant the Om for you once, twice, and then let us chant together for a few minutes. Then we'll have a few minutes for a few questions that you might have, and then we will meet again tomorrow. So, listen to the chant. How do we chant Om? So first of all, you have to imagine that you are like a hollow vessel. Okay, you're like a hollow vessel. You're taking in a lot of pranic energy through your breath, right to the base of your being, your Adhar. So if you imagine your body as with a wide base and a narrow apex, which is the center of your head, forehead, then you can imagine if you start from here as a point at your between your eyebrows, then this is the point, the top of your structure. It's a point, and the base is wide, almost like a pyramid. So you have to imagine yourself like a pyramid with a wide base and a point on the top. So how do you move your energy from a wide base to the point on top? Bindu, we call it. From Adhar to Bindu. We don't know how to move it, so we take the help of sound. So what kind of sound? Which has a wide base and it narrows and narrows and narrows till it becomes a point. And that is where we come to the Om. Because what is Om? It starts with A and goes to U, and then it goes beyond U to a nasal sound. It is Bindu, not M. It's not M. Because if you see the symbol of Om, how is the symbol written? It's U in Sanskrit. The symbol that you see of Om is the sound U with a Chandra Bindu on top, which is the nasal sound. Yes? It's not M, it is the nasal sound. So only if you take that nasal sound through your nose will it reach your head. If you close your lips, it will not reach your head, it will vibrate on your face. So you'll see the difference. I'm going to demonstrate the difference to you. This is when I close my mouth. Okay? Now I'm going to chant Om the way it should be chanted. So I didn't close my mouth. It might seem to you that I did, but you'll see the difference. When I do then this nasal, the nose, the cheeks, the mouth, this part will vibrate. And if I do then it becomes the head sound. So what you have to achieve is the head sound, not the face sound. So what you have to think of is, how is my sound narrowing? Is it going to oo? And how is the oo converting into a nasal sound? So oo will help it to go up, and then when it goes up, when you switch it into a nasal mode, it will go into your head. Oo becoming nasal. That's the symbol of Om, and that is what brings it to its residing space, which is the Agnya Chakra between the eyebrows, because Om is a bija mantra. It is a seed sound whose residing space is the Agnya Chakra between the eyebrows. So only if you emit the right sound will it intensify there. Otherwise, it will not reach there. It will stay in your throat, it will stay on your face, but it will not reach here and intensify itself here. Okay? So that's how you chant Om. Let's do it together. So remember, you begin with a wider sound, you narrow it quickly, and then that narrowed sound you make nasal. When you make it nasal, feel it vibrating in your head. Take a deep breath, as deep as possible. Once more. And now, softly, take a deep breath and try to move this beam of sound, this beam of vibration from your Adhar to the point, the Bindu in your forehead. Softly. Once more. Once more. And now silently feel a beam of sound like a beam of light. As you take a deep breath, imagine the sound in silent mode, going from your Adhar, from your base, to Bindu inside your forehead and vibrating in your head. So imagine the movement of that beam of vibration as you think of the Om moving through your body with your breath. Take a deep breath again. Take a deep breath again. Feel this light, this energy now nourishing your entire head and your face and the light in your eyes and inside the skin of your face and in your smile. And it's this entire light pouring down your neck into your entire body and illuminating it. Feel your whole body nourished with the intensity of the energy of Om. Feel it surrounding your body from outside and from inside. there is no barrier for light or for vibration. Relax your head. Let the light flow out and nourish you. And keep smiling. And relax yourself. Put your palms together. You can clasp your palms. Feel the energy to create a circuit for your body. Rub your palms together. Touch your face. Feeling all right? Feeling good? So this practice is very important because it makes you let go of the sensory mode to the intention mode. When you can catch the key of a movement through sound and bridge between the auditory or the audible mode to the silent mode, then you have got the key from the sensory but gone to the non-sensory. You've understood the movement of sound through audible sound and then created a bridge between the audible and the inaudible because you have understood the movement of energy. So that is the practice. Using the sensory to get the key to vibrational movement. Once you've got the key to vibrational movement, you will be able to effect this reversal of energy in silence. That's the secret of the journey from using sensory tools and then going beyond them to inner vibrational tools. Okay. So, we will pause here and resume our journey tomorrow. Can take up about 5 minutes of any observations or questions that you might have. So, anybody wants to ask anything? Any doubts?
Yeah, so
標的是無啦啦